That is an all-time classic move. We'll have to ask him how it came up, because I completely agree. The fact that the topic of his championship game came up this morning when his wife's water broke and she started labor is hilarious. I am going to presume that she brought it up. I'm just going to make that presumption. She was like, oh, my God, you got a game tonight. You got your championship game tonight. But if he actually managed to weave it into the conversation.
Where was your wife when her water broke all 3 times? First time.
First time was right after the show. And I was on my way home anyway. The second time was early. It was like 9 in the morning. And the third time was actually in the hospital. She was having labor pains, but her water hadn't broke, so we went to the hospital, and I was standing right there.
Splash.
Yep.
Were you alarmed? Were you with her any time? Was it the third time the only time you were with her?
I freaked right the hell out. I had no idea what was going on.
So the third time was the only time you were with her?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
No idea. How much water is flying around there? How much liquid comes out?
Am I really about to describe this?
Is it like if somebody takes a half a bucket and just drops? Is that what it sounds like?
Kind of.
Wow.
And I was like, is that concrete? I was like, that looks like concrete. What is that? I didn't know. I didn't know what I was. And I remember her going, uh-oh. And I was like, what's that? What is that?
Do I need a mop?
Yeah. So I went running out of the room to go get some.
Swiffer's not going to get this.
So anyway, boy, I can't believe you asked me to describe that. Okay.
Why not? Wet jet.
What'd you say?
Get the wet jet out there.
All right, Dave Burkett came up with a list of
From the Detroit Free Press.
Yeah, sorry. Beat writer covers the Lions for the Detroit Free Press. With 5 games left, here are 5 things we must see. Gator, I'm going to read these to you, and I would like you to tell me which one you think is the most important. You ready?
Yeah, I am.
Number 1, continued improvement on run defense. They've been pretty damn good of late. Chicago Bears twice and Carolina Panthers. The Lions have allowed a total of 148 yards on the ground.
Wow.
In 3 games. That's fewer yards than they've allowed in 4 games this season, and best in the NFL in that span.
That's less than 50 yards a game?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Wow. And
Lions have not allowed a run longer than 10 yards in the last 3 games.
Wow.
Yeah, this is wildly encouraging stuff when it comes to the run defense. Yeah. More of the young defensive backs. There are 2 young defensive backs in particular, safety Tracy Walker and cornerback Mike Ford, who warrant longer looks. 3, a healthy Kerryon Johnson. Johnson is 1 game in, is what to expect it to be a multiple-week absence. He suffered a knee injury November 18th. There's no point in rushing him back now with the playoffs a distant speck on the horizon. But if he can return to the field for a final few games and run like he did before the injury, that'll bring a huge peace of mind to the organization. Number 4, the old Matthew Stafford. Stafford has been nowhere near the Lions' biggest problem this season, but he also hasn't played as well as he did in previous years. And the Lions need him to get back to performing in that high level again. Maybe with better protection up front. Maybe that's by letting him take some shots downfield once he has his full complement of weapons, or maybe that doesn't come until the offseason with a coordinator change. But another physically and mentally draining year, Stafford could use some positive vibes. And number 5 on the list of things that we need to see from the Lions, wins. He writes 3 of them. The Lions aren't going to beat the Rams next Sunday. They might lose by 2 touchdowns, but they better go on the road and beat both Arizona and Buffalo, who are 2 of the worst teams in the NFL, and it'd be nice if they could win a division game too. Clearly, I don't believe in tanking, not unless you need a quarterback and are in line for an Andrew Luck type with the number 1 pick. But after a tough transition to Patricia, the organization needs to give its fans, the locker room, and pending free agents everywhere reason for some hope. There's not much right now at 4-7, and I fear a disastrous December would mean what it would mean for 2019 and beyond. So there you go. 5 things we must see in the remainder of the schedule. I think it's really interesting to debate which of these 5 is most important to you. Is it 1, continued improvement on run defense, 2, more of the young defensive backs, 3, a healthy Kerryon Johnson, 4, the old Matt Stafford, or 5, 3 wins in the 5 games. Gator, which of these is most important to you?
There's a lot
there. If you want me to go first, I'll go first.
I'll take a stab at it. Because I think there's a couple there that really kind of pique my interest. I guess I'll tell you what I don't care about, and that's wins. That doesn't matter to me. I've already gotten to the point where I don't expect much the rest of the season. I don't care if they beat Buffalo at Buffalo or Arizona at Arizona. 2 should be wins. I don't care if they do or don't. At that point, you're looking at draft standing, and it's fine if they don't win it. So that I eliminate that. I'm looking more at Stafford and the defensive backs. I'm encouraged that the run defense is playing better, but I think that's just a symptom of maybe the defense is figuring out how to play this defense, and it's taken too long in the season, but nice that they're figuring it out now. But Stafford, I need him to get back to being good and not being bad, because we've seen bad Stafford for the last few weeks here. Too many turnovers, costly turnovers at just really the worst time ever. That has cost them 2 games, with the Seattle games and with the last game against the Bears. Can't have that. And I need to see him get back so he's not – I don't want to see the shell-shocked Stafford because he's been under duress a lot with the offensive line issues. And just it's peace of mind. You need to know that the quarterback went through a real rough stretch, and he's through it, and he's playing better. And it has to start Sunday against the Rams, because if he does it against – teams that suck like Arizona and Buffalo, it's not going to mean anything. If he does it against Minnesota, well, the game should mean something to Minnesota at that time. That'll mean something. If he does it at the end of the season against the Packers, and it may or may not mean anything for the Packers, it may not mean something. So it has to start Sunday. I'm going to say it's Stafford, because we know that the success or failure of this franchise moving forward really does hinge on how good he's going to play. If he's going to play really well, they've got a chance to do something. If he's not going to play well, they have no shot.
There are 3 things here that I care about, 2 that I don't care about. One is I really don't need to see a healthy Karsch and Johnson again this year.
I agree.
It'd be nice. I want
to feel reassured that he's okay.
But I'm pretty much sold. Yeah. I'm sold on the skill level. And him getting back healthy and finishing the year healthy, like, if he doesn't play the rest of the year, that means the injury was rather serious. And just let him health up the entire offseason and come back when there's some premium on the games again, on the outcome of the games. The other one I don't care about that much is more of the young defensive backs. Sure, it'd be nice, but I'm guessing neither of them is a long-term good solution. Like, they might be a temporary fix, but I don't see, at this point, Tracy Walker or Mike Ford being guys I go, well, they don't need to draft a corner now, right? I mean, it could be the case. Walker, they put a pretty high resource into him.
Well, this is why you have to see more of them, in my opinion, because you need to find out how good can they be. Obviously, with them sitting Tease Tabor down and letting Ford play,
I'm rather suspicious that either is going to be a solution. And while I agree with you, sure, I mean, you may as well roll the dice. I suspect they'll both be drafted or free agented over in the offseason. They'll go get somebody else. But, so those 2 I don't care that much about. I do care about wins. And the reason I care about wins is I want Patricia to prove something to us. I know everybody talks about draft position, but whether you're picking 8th or 13th is not worth it to me to lose a ton of games and have zero faith in Patricia. Like, and by zero faith, I mean that this guy's the guy. If Patricia stinks as a coach, you know, the likelihood of this being a 2 to 3 year setback for the organization is pretty high. But if Patricia can get them to win some games, even some games as banged up as they are without some of the players they've had, it tells me he might be a good coach. And I want some assurances that he's a good coach. So I do care about wins. I do love the run defense. I don't think I need it to improve. I mean, the way he worded it was continued improvements on run defense. It's pretty good right now. If it settles in here, what it's been the last 3 games, I agree with you. I think it's getting the old Matthew Stafford back is the most important thing. He's not having a typical Stafford year. I think the Stafford bashers have been, I mean, they're loving this because It moves him closer to getting rid of him. I think those of us that have supported him and continue to support him as a quarterback that I think they can win with in this league is to try and get him back on track. And I suspect it'll come with a few things. One is getting Marvin Jones back, I think helps a lot. And if Kerryon does play, which again, I don't think is a high priority, I think that helps Stafford. I think the number one thing that's going to help Stafford is the likelihood that he's going to have a new offensive coordinator. And I'm not crazy about changing systems, and they change a lot, but we've given this a run, and the offense right now is spinning its wheels, and injuries do play a role, but the most likely fix is the offensive coordinator. And I'm a little surprised they haven't looked in-house and said, let's give one of these guys that has some offensive coordinator experience a chance and see if he is the answer. You could name George Godsey your interim offensive coordinator and say, well, we'll give you a shot at this. And by the way, if it doesn't work out, you go back to being the quarterback coach,